Box office top 10 at 16, Passages.
Yes, which is the Ira Sachs film. Ira Sachs made Love is Strange. This is a really interesting film set in Paris about married couple, same-sex couple, one of whom starts having a fling with a woman, and they think it's fine because they've got a sort of a certain openness in their relationship. But then everything starts to become complicated. This got into a big problem in America where it got slapped with an NC-17 rating because it's one of the few films in which the intimate scenes really move the story forward. You find out about the relationship between the characters and the way in which they interact physically. And in America, it got an NC-17 certificate, which is the kind of commercial kiss of death, so it went out unrated. This had prompted a discussion that I had about the fact that America has an infantile rating system, which is everyone can see everything except the films that are for grown-ups, in which case, if it's not pornography, there isn't a place for it to go. There was a very good interview with Ira Sachs on the show in your absence, which people should check out.
I find that hard to believe.
What, that Ira Sachs was on the show?
No.
That it was very good?
Yeah. Okay. Rachel in Reading, I saw Passages at Berlinale in February with an Ira Sachs live Q&A.
Yeah.
And have been waiting since then to see it again. I love this film, and it has remained in my top 3 of the year all year. I remember thinking how refreshing it was to see actual sex scenes after what feels like years of cinema playing it safe. Rihanna rightly brings this up in her interview with Sachs. It was also mentioned in the Q&A I attended in Berlin. I too struggled to feel much empathy for Thomas. Instead, I felt for Martin throughout the film in what was possibly one of Ben Whishaw's best performances. As Sean says, the film is a study of the destructive nature of narcissism. If Cillian Murphy deserves an Oscar nomination for Oppenheimer, then Ben Whishaw deserves to be nominated twice for his performance.
Ben Whishaw is fantastic in the film. I mean, I thought it was really good, and it was really good to see a film, as I said, in which those intimate scenes are absolutely moving the plot forward. They are part of the narrative.
Number 10 in the UK is Cobweb.
Which is... Sorry.
No, you go ahead first. No,
I insist.
No.
I was just going to say that the most interesting thing about it is that there's a drum and lace score, Sophia Hildquist, which I've been playing on Scala, which is very, very fine. Sorry, carry on. Mate.
So you interrupted just to plug your radio show?
No, I interrupted to say yes.
Thank you. Dear host and contributor, says Andrew Miller, Esquire, 500-metre backstroke certificate, Prince 2 practitioner.
Prince 2?
What's that?
Is
That's
that like
the number 2.
Is that like are you like substitute Prince?
Prince 2 practitioner. Anyway, whatever it is, that's Andrew Miller.
Well done.
If that's what you think you need in your life, Andrew Miller is the person for you. I just got home from seeing Cobweb, and I, a lifelong horror fan, was extremely impressed. The slow, menacing creep of this movie was a terrifying sorbet to the quiet...
sorbet?
Yes, I suppose, like a taster.
An aperitif.
An amuse-bouche.
An amuse-bouche.
Maybe. I think that's the correct use of the term. To the quiet bang nonsense I've endured recently. Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr are delightful as unhinged parents, but the real star is the house. It's a movie that isn't shy about letting creepy wallpaper take the lion's share of the screen while our protagonist cowers in the corner, or allows your eyes to adjust as the camera slowly zooms towards a terrifying hole in the wall. The third act gets crunchy in a delightful way.
That's
For me, it was mildly let down by the final minute, but then the same thing. Feel free to redact all of that. Anyway, I think that's fine to say.
Perfectly fine. And
if you're a fan of genuinely creepy cinema, it's a hard recommendation from me, if that means anything, says Andrew Miller, the practitioner of the Prince 2s.
And bear in mind that on the subject of the Quiet Bang, we are going to be reviewing The Nun 2, which is textbook Quiet Bang.
Okay. Apparently it is say that again, please, production. It's a project management qualification.
Is it?
Yes. So Andrew Miller is one of those.
Very good.
If you want
your project managed.
I can't think of anyone better.
No.
Andrew, thank you. Correspondence at kermode.com.
You could give him a jingle. If you want your project managed, Andrew Miller.
Number 9 in the UK, 12 in America, Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
8 here, 3 in America, Blue Beetle.
Well, I appear to like this more than anyone else that's been on this show recently. I thought it was...
I don't care about anyone else.
No, but I did think it was one of the more enjoyable superhero movies, largely because I think it genuinely is about family. And I had gone into it with fairly low expectations, and I came out very, very pleasantly surprised.
Number 7 in the UK, number 8 in the States is The Meg 2.
And again, Robbie Collin said he said it should have been called Meg Poo the Stench.
Okay.
It was raising the bar. I think it's... Well, I enjoyed it. Okay, it starts so-so, then it goes a bit mad, and then at the end it goes absolutely full whirlicopter versus tentacular thing coming out of the sea bonkers, and I enjoyed it, and I stand by that. I had fun in the cinema watching it.
Number 6 is Elemental.
There was a conversation in your absence when Robbie Collin asked me if somebody wrote in to say, had an interview ever changed your mind about a film? And I said, well, actually, I think in the case of Elemental, it did. Robbie said that he doesn't believe that his opinion about a film has ever been changed by an interview, in which case he is a tougher man than I. I remember very clearly that your interview with the director of Elemental, Peter Sohn, that's correct, is it?
I think...
Yes, Sohn, did make me like the film more, partly because it was evident that it meant so much to him that it made me kind of rethink I still have problems with the element stuff, with the fire, water, how they live together. But I thought that was a case in which I was affected by an interview. And
interestingly, the South Korean immigrant experience will be coming up later in the program.
It will.
It's a very different film, but it's the same. Same subject matter.
Absolutely.
Number 5 in the UK, number 6 in the States. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah, fine. I mean, kind of fun, and I mean, arguably the best of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I still, I mean, the first one was, it may have been rubbish, but I'll say it again, it was biggest selling indie movie at the time, and I remember being in Hollywood when it came out and just being astonished at what was happening.
Number 4 in the UK, number 17 in the States is Sound of Freedom.
Yeah. So, unremarkable child sex trafficking exploitation thriller in which Jim Caviezel, outspoken QAnon advocate Jim Caviezel, plays the real-life figure of Tim Ballard, who makes it his mission to save children from international paedophile rings. The film has been endorsed by the likes of Donald Trump, who did a screening of it at his Bedminster Golf Club. Of course he did, because when this was reviewed on the show, people wrote in and say, why haven't you reviewed Sound of Freedom? You're scared to review Sound of Freedom. Well, it wasn't out. And then when it was out, it got reviewed. And Anna Bogoskaya talked about it in context, because you have to talk about it in context. The film would not be troubling the charts or this program if it hadn't been involved if Trump hadn't done screenings of it, if a bunch of nutball right-wingers hadn't come out and said, oh, yes, such an important film, such an important film. Just brief kind of primer on this. Trump has spent a lot of his time dog whistling to the QAnon nutball right-wing lunatic fringe, who believe, in inverted commas, that he is involved in a fight against a cabal of satanic paedophiles. There's a very fine podcast series which you and I both listened to, The Coming Storm.
Yes.
About if you don't if you have any sympathy or QAnon, I'm not interested in anything you have to say. But if you want to find out about it, do listen to that series. And so obviously Trump doing a screening of the movie was important, because he's dog whistling to the QAnon lot. He'll never say, "Oh yes, I need their support," but he's dog whistling to them. Yes, I am involved in a fight against this stuff. The director has complained that there are people that are too close to the film that are in politics, and it's because the film itself doesn't discuss any of that stuff. It's just as I said, a completely unremarkable and not very good nuts and bolts exploitation thriller. But the movie wouldn't be here on the show if it wasn't for the fact that it had been involved in all this stuff. And when Trump is doing screenings, and when your leading man is Jim Caviezel played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ. It seems to have become convinced that he really is the Messiah. He has said Donald Trump is the new Moses.
That kind of tells us everything.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He's also a very bad actor, because when I look at him, I can't see anything other than an idiot. It's just, when somebody's personal behaviour is so rampagingly stupid. If you have a moment, Google Jim Caviezel's behaviour on the set of Person of Interest. So it's, like I said, there's nothing else to say other than if in any other world this either wouldn't have been released or it would have gone straight to video. Because it's been picked up by the right wing and the director complaining about that. Shut up. Nobody would have seen this film if it hadn't been picked up by these lunatics. It's now being used as a kind of, rallying cry. Just shut up and live with it.
For example, these are both from our social media. Someone called Love Light Peace 587. I've never known anybody normal put a number at
Here we
end.
go. All right.
Turning a blind eye to child and human trafficking, you are part of the problem. When someone is trying to show the world what's going on behind the scenes, can't stop the truth, sound of freedom, whatever.
Yep.
And someone called So Many Taken Names. If the film's rabid fan base weren't so set on thrusting this film into the culture war at every opportunity, then there wouldn't be any need to talk about the politics surrounding it. Criticism of the film or its creators isn't an endorsement of child trafficking. If you're one of these people, I hate to break it to you, but liking this film doesn't make you some sort of moral crusader. Being against child trafficking makes you normal.
Yes.
Anyway, hopefully this will disappear very, very quickly.
And, I come back to the thing about you don't want to give it the oxygen of publicity or indeed the oxygen of oxygen.
Number 3 is Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer has
And number 2 is Barbie. So
Yes,
I don't know if you want to take
but that's just significant because Barbie is now off the top spot for the first time because it's been knocked off by Equalizer 3, which we'll come to. It is the success of Oppenheimer is extraordinary. The success of Barbie we all know about now, but the fact that a movie that is 3 hours long, that is large parts of it are people talking in rooms, and it is quite a challenging film. That it has done as well as it has done is, I have to say, a real industrial surprise. It's incredible that it's done as well as it's done. Barbie is great fun, and I really, really like Barbie. But I am, as a Christopher Nolan fan, when I came out of the screening of Oppenheimer, I would have put, pound to a penny that it would get great reviews, but it wouldn't be a runaway financial success. And it is.
Yeah. One of the many, many reasons I'm disappointed that because of various contractual diary clashes, Chris Nolan conversation never happened. But his casting is astonishing. We all know that he likes to work with certain people. So there was a conversation about whether he should have employed a Jewish actor to play Oppenheimer. But okay, so that's one thing. Then Oppenheimer's wife is Emily Blunt. The first fling he has is Florence Pugh. So. And then Einstein. Oh, it's Tom Conti, the President of America. He's from London because it's Gary Oldman. And all the way through, there must have been some Americans thinking,
hang on a minute.
Are
this film's directed by a limey.
Have I missed something? Anyway, Oppenheimer 3, Barbie 2, and as you said, Equalizer 3 at 1.
So, reteaming Denzel Washington and Antoine Fuqua, which is a partnership that in the past bagged Washington the Best Actor Oscar for Training Day. So this time he's facing retirement. He goes to Italy, Sicily. Gomorrah stuff happens. It's business as usual. I enjoy it because I think it's it is absolutely what it is. Here is a lovely BBFC quote. Okay, the violence is bloody and brutal, but typically occurs in sudden, brief bursts. Now, the thing that I love about that phrase is, firstly, that's true of if anyone has ever seen fights in pubs. Violence and brutal, but in very brief bursts. I mean, pub fights last about 4 seconds and they're horrible and nasty and there's nothing glamorous about them. But it is like, that's pretty much right. So, they list shooting, stabbings, garrottings, the use of improvised weapons. It's all the stuff that you expect from that kind of thriller. And it's well done. It's efficiently done. It's done with a certain elan, a certain flair, and the performances are...
I like the first two, which I've seen in wrong order.
And then you will like they will like number 3 because you'll be pleased to know it's not breaking any rules.
Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. I have done.
Excellent.